Hey there, welcome back to Fireman Cars. We're working on the Sauerkraut C10 again today. We're going to go ahead and get the brake booster master cylinder installed, and then we're hopefully going to get the clutch master cylinder installed for a hydraulic clutch setup for that manual transmission. So stay tuned, follow along. I'll show you what we got going on here. This truck was originally equipped with an automatic transmission, so there's no clutch pedal under here. Lucky for us, the parts truck out there under the tree was a manual transmission, so I was able to salvage this pedal assembly out of that truck. We're gonna go ahead and get the old one out of there, put this one in there, and then we'll be able to start rigging up our clutch master cylinder. So there's one bolt and a little clamp here that this stuff's got to come off on the outside. Otherwise, all the rest of the steering column bolts are on the inside of the truck. So we'll go in there next. All right, now that we got the column kind of laying down here, I'm going to take the gauge cluster out just to give us a little bit more room. I'm going to try and hopefully be able to unplug the electrical connector for the steering column, and we'll just get it right out of the way so that way it'll make it easier to get in there and do stuff. So I do have this one little flashlight that works. Oh, maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I don't have to take the gauges out quite yet to unplug the steering column. Looks like the connector's right here. Yeah, there we go. Unplug that. There's a light here, which I assume, I'm not sure what that light was for. Oh, there's more. More connections down here on the bottom. It looks like it's probably a neutral safety switch being purple. And I don't know what the green one is here, but we will find out eventually. Alright, and then there's there's two little screws down there I gotta take out yet. I'll be right back. Alright. Screw. All right. Light comes off, and then I think, yeah, there's a rubber grommet there. I think I got to push that in from the outside real quick. And this whole thing should slide right. Alright, slides right out. We'll set that off to the side for now. Look at all that room. Alright, so the brake booster's already off, so those four bolts, or those four nuts, hold the pedal assembly in. I believe there's just one more bolt up on the top there, and a brake pedal switch, which we'll have to transfer over, but we'll see if we can't unplug that. Alright, there we go. I gotta grab a extension. I think that's a 9/16. Zap that out real quick. Put that bolt right there. I'll just wrestle this out of here real quick. Oh yeah, look at that. Easy peasy. All right. All right, here you can see both of the pedal assemblies side by side. They look pretty much the same, other than the fact that, you know, this one here has an additional pedal. I think you could probably, if you had just a pedal, you could probably slide it into an old one and make it work if you could. I don't know if you can buy just a pedal or not. I didn't really look into it. I knew I had this laying around, so we're going to use that. All right, so we'll get our 2-pedal assembly up in there. And then once we do that, we'll go under the hood and start getting our clutch stuff together. All right, so that'll hold everything in place for the meantime here. We'll go under the hood and we'll start with getting that clutch bracket together. What we're doing here is I bought a hydraulic clutch conversion kit for this truck from Speedway Motors. So we're gonna go ahead and that's what we're installing. The NV3500 transmission that we're using is a hydraulic clutch, so I figured this would just be easier. Everything should work together well this way, so we'll see what happens. So based on our instructions here, we got a reinforcement plate, and that will go right here. Maybe, hopefully. And I don't know if that boot is supposed to come out of there. It's because it's in the. It's keeping it from sitting flush. And that might be easier said than done. That's things hard as a rock after being 50 years old. Here, let's grab that. So it's pretty crunchy. I don't know. I don't know if we'll need to reuse that or not. Try and find a new one, I think. Anyway, this super nice shiny plate, which doesn't match anything else on the truck, goes right there. Just like that, according to the instructions. Yeah, that looks right. I think I'm going to bolt that down real quick, so that way this is solid, and then we'll use the plate to drill those holes. That's not going anywhere. In the meantime, let's go find some drilling stuff. Alright, so we need to drill a hole right here. So I went and found the closest size hole saw that's just slightly smaller than that. We'll use that to drill through. I also, pro tip, if you're gonna drill a hole in something, check and see if there's anything on the other side. And in this case, there's a couple like little relays that were screwed to the inside of the firewall in there. So I removed those. They're hanging down by their wires at the moment. We'll have to relocate them probably, but yeah. Pro tip, don't drill holes in the stuff you don't know what's behind. Anyway, here we go. We're just gonna do our best to center it up and here, let's we'll move you so you can hopefully see what I'm doing here a little bit better. All right, let's try that. Anyway, just nice and easy. There we go. Oh, so there's kind of 2 layers in there. Let's see, show you here. But yeah, so there's our hole straight through. We'll have to clean that up, and there's a little bit of insulation for the firewall there that we'll have to trim through, but it should work. So here's the little piece that came out with the hole saw. You can see there's a little double layer spot right on the end there. So using that as a guide, we were able to cut right in there, and it looks good. We'll have to probably trim it up just a little bit with a die grinder just to make sure everything's smooth and stuff in there. We got to drill the 2 other mounting holes, so we'll go ahead and do those quick. If you're drilling with a regular drill bit in metal, a little lubricant goes a long way. Save your drill bits a little bit. And I think we're running out of battery. Well, we got one. All right, so we got those holes all drilled. I'm going to open up that center one just a little bit with a die grinder and a carbide bit. Just so that way, mostly just to smooth the edges, but there, so now there's not anything too coarse burrs or anything in there. There's one little spot up here and a hill. So that should work out good. All right, now that we got our hole drilled in the firewall there, we got to put our master cylinder together so we can slide the linkage in there and get it measured up. We got to drill a hole in the clutch pedal to hook this new linkage to. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Well, no going back now. I opened the package. I won't follow the directions on this because I haven't done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. Looks like that will go on there. So, and there's a rod end that goes on to that. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. All right, and then this will all slide inside the firewall there, and then this should line up directly with the clutch pedal. So I went ahead and slid that clutch master cylinder into the plate there and bolted it in. We got to come along in the inside here. And what we got to do all right, you can kind of see what's going on. So what the instructions say to do is to bring the rod straight back. So I'm gonna eyeball it about right there. Well, that is not going to work. This needs to be significantly longer. Come on back. So So the idea is that it comes back and meets your clutch pedal, and then you drill a hole in it. But in order to drill a hole in it, I'd have to put my clutch pedal way down there, which means that thing would be almost on the floor before I even start. And I don't think that doesn't seem right at all. So that needs to be about an inch longer than what it is. So we'll have to figure something out there. So I went ahead and measured out and drilled the hole in the clutch pedal here, 3/8 hole for our clutch master cylinder. I'm gonna have to find out what I'm gonna get for an extension for that rod, because it's about an inch shy of where it needs to be, because this obviously needs to be all the way back at rest position. So we'll have to figure that out later. But I wanted to drill the hole because, I mean, you could see where it would be anyway. So I drilled the hole so that way we can keep moving and try and get that brake booster installed. So if you've been following along, you noticed that when I put the engine in, that the brake booster was rubbing against the intake manifold. So rather than try and make a custom intake manifold, because that would take some time, I ordered a new brake booster setup that's a little bit smaller diameter. So it should fit with everything in there. So we'll go ahead and open up this box and see what we got. Set that there for now. Let's see. Ooh, stickers, always good. Let's see. Another box inside a box. Packaging material. Put that right in the big one. Let's see. And this came as a kit for this truck. So came with a new mounting bracket for the firewall and stuff too. It was pretty inexpensive, so I just bought the whole kit. Alright, so that's the bracket. Here's a bench bleed kit for the master cylinder, which I'm assuming that this must be the master cylinder here. Sure is. Set that off to the side. So this must be the booster, the main event. Look at that. 8-inch dual diaphragm. That should fit right up in there and do what we need it to do. Looks like it came with a new check valve. Oh, there's two different ones. I'll have to see what that's all about. But yeah, well that's exciting. So nice and shiny too, so it'll look pretty under the hood. Not that we're terribly worried about looking pretty. And some instructions. Cool. So we'll go ahead and try and get that installed. I mean, if there's one thing that's going to be shiny and look nice on this truck, I'm glad it's the brakes, because I hope they work great. Okay, next step is the booster. So I'm just going to pick one and we're going to go with that. And we're going to have plenty of room here. Alright, so this linkage wasn't quite long enough to reach the clutch pedal where I wanted it to, and I couldn't find another one of these 5/16 adapters extension deals. I actually called Speedway just to see if I could buy this piece separate, and they didn't have a listing for it. So I ended up just getting a 5/16 coupler nut. It's fine thread, and then another piece of thread to come up into here, jamming it all together. So that should hopefully work. Alright, so I went ahead and I got the master cylinder and the proportioning valve installed. I got the lines plumbed up on it. Got a line ran over here for the clutch at least most of the way. Turns out though that I need to get a slave cylinder still, because the one that I had that I thought would work is for a different transmission, so it's the wrong one. So I ordered another one of those. It's on its way. Went ahead and set the fuel tank in there. It's not quite bolted in all the way yet or hooked up or anything, but it's sitting there. So we're making some progress. Got the pedals hooked up. Steering column's got to go back in. But that's where we're at right now. It's going to be a few days before I get back down here to work on it again, so I'll probably make this into its own video. But that's where we're at right now. I appreciate you guys watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. And we'll be back with more updates here as we go. So thanks again for watching.